The signal in the dark, the blackness of space, was calm that night. Stars shone like cold fire, and the United Terran fleet ship Aegis drifted in patrol formation, silent but alert. On the bridge, Captain Ryland Voss sat in his chair, eyes scanning. The dark. He had been a fleet officer for 15 years. He knew that most patrols ended quietly. But not tonight. A sharp alarm cut through the silence. "Captain, we've got a distress signal," said Lieutenant Hale from the comm station. Ryland stood immediately. Distress signals meant trouble. "Source?" Hale's hands flew across the console. "Outer Rim Sector. Uncharted system. Signal type. It's human, sir." The words froze everyone on the bridge. A human SOS meant one thing: someone from Earth's people was in danger. And in Terran space, such calls were rare. "Patch it through." The speakers came alive with a faint, broken voice. "This is Colony Vega. Under attack? Please help us, anyone." "We can't hold." "Then static? Coordinates?" Ryland asked sharply. Hale hesitated. "Sir, these coordinates are deep in Viric space." A low murmur ran through the crew. The Viric Dominion, one of humanity's most bitter enemies. Cruel, merciless, known for taking slaves and wiping out entire colonies. "There are no human colonies that far out," Hale added, almost whispering. Ryland's jaw tightened. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. Commander Yara, his second-in-command, stepped closer. "Sir, this could be a trap. If we take the Aegis into Viric space without support," Ryland cut her off. "It's a human distress call. I don't care where it's from." Yara frowned. "Even if it's fake?" He looked straight at her. "If there's even a 1% chance it's real, we answer." The crew didn't argue. That was the Terran way. No human distress call was ever ignored. "Set course," Ryland ordered. Full jump readiness. Within minutes, the Aegis was moving, its engines glowing bright against the void. The ship was a predator in the dark sleet, armored, armed with weapons no alien fleet had yet survived. Still, even the Aegis would be outnumbered if the Viric Navy was waiting. Ryland sat back, feeling the familiar tension in his chest. He had seen what happened to colonies that weren't rescued in time. He had sworn never to let that happen under his command. "How long until we reach the system?" 2 jumps, 40 minutes, Yara replied. The bridge was quiet again, but it wasn't a peaceful silence. It was the silence before a storm. The crew knew they could be flying straight into enemy territory, and yet no one turned away from their stations. Ryland glanced at the stars streaking past. If this was a trap, the Viric had made one fatal mistake. They underestimated what humans did when their own were in danger. Half an hour later, the final jump aligned. "Final checks," Ryland said. "Weapons on standby. Shields ready." "All green," Hale confirmed. Ryland gave a single nod. "Execute jump." The stars bent, twisted, and vanished into streaks of light. The ship shook as it crossed the light years in an instant, then reality snapped back. What they saw on the other side was not what they expected. The coordinates were real. The signal had led them to a lonely star system, its sun dim and dying. No colony lights, no planetary beacons, no sign of human life. But there were ships, dozens, alien hulls, black and jagged, moving into formation like predators around a kill. The Viric Dominion fleet. And at its heart, a massive battleship with glowing crimson markings, aimed straight at the Aegis. The comm crackled to life with a voice dripping with mockery. "Humans, you came running. Like loyal pets." The trap had been sprung. Ryland didn't flinch. "All hands battle stations?" His voice was calm, but his eyes were ice. If the Viric thought this was going to be a hunt, they were about to find out who the real predators were. The trap revealed the bridge of the Aegis was now bathed in red light as the alarm klaxons sounded. Crew members moved quickly, voices low but tense. Enemy ships 36 confirmed. More coming from behind the gas giant, reported Hale, eyes locked on the sensor feed. Raylan's jaw clenched. That many ships meant this wasn't a chance meeting. This was an execution. The Virat battleship moved forward, its hull bristling with weapons. On the comm, the mocking voice returned. You humans are predictable. One, cry for help, and you leap into the fire. Do you know how many fleets have fallen to this trick? Yara stepped closer to Rylan, her voice sharp. Captain, we're outnumbered 10-1. We should retreat? Rylan cut in, his voice steady but cold. They faked a human distress call. That's not a trick. That's a declaration of war. The Virak commander laughed through the comm. You came alone. You have no chance. Surrender, and we might let your crew live as slaves. Every human on the bridge went still. Rylan leaned forward, his tone deadly calm. You just made a mistake, Virak. You think we came alone. Lieutenant, open a channel to Fleet Command, Rylan ordered. Hale hesitated. Sir? At this distance, they won't arrive for hours. We don't need them to arrive now. We just need them to hear this. Rylan stood, walking toward the holodisplay in the center of the bridge. This is Captain Rylan Voss of the Terran Fleet vessel Aegis. We have confirmed a fake human distress call originating from Virak space. Virak fleet and system. I am engaging. No surrender. He paused, then added in a low voice, and tell them, Protocol Firestorm. The crew froze at those words. Firestorm wasn't a defensive plan. It was an order that meant total retaliation. It meant Earth's deadliest weapons would be brought into play. The Virak ships began to spread out, trying to surround the Aegis. Shields up. Load all torpedo bays. Arm the spinal railgun, Rylan commanded. The first salvo came from the enemy bright spears of plasma and streams of pulse fire. The Aegis shook as the shields flared blue, absorbing the hits. Shields holding 87%, Yara called. Rylan's voice cut through the noise. Return fire. The Aegis unleashed its Fury torpedoes, streaking through the dark. Railgun slugs punching holes in enemy armor, laser batteries carving burning scars across hulls. 2 Virak cruisers went up in fire almost instantly. The Virak commanders. Voice came back, no longer mocking. You can't win this fight. Rylan's lips curved into the faintest smile. You're right. I'm not here to win. I'm here to make sure none of you live long enough to regret this. But deep in the tactical readouts, Yara saw something that made her blood run cold. 3 massive heat signatures rising from behind the gas giant. Bigger than battleships, carrier-class vessels, each one capable of launching hundreds of fighters. Captain, reinforcements incoming. Rylan didn't look surprised. Good, let them come. He turned back to the comm and spoke directly. To the Virak commander, you wanted to draw blood from humanity? You're about to drown in it. And as the carriers moved into firing range, the crew of the Aegis prepared for the fight of their lives. Firestorm protocol the enemy carriers loomed on the tactical screen, like 3 black mountains. Hundreds of fighter bays began to open, spewing out swarms of small attack craft. The darkness around the gas giant lit up with the red glow of their engines. On the bridge of the Aegis, the crew moved faster. Every console was alive with warning lights. Captain, they're deploying squadrons 200, maybe more, Hale shouted. Let them deploy, Rylan replied, voice steady. The more they commit, the harder they fall. Yara turned in her chair. Sir, if we engage that many fighters, we'll be out of ammo in minutes. Rylan's eyes narrowed. That's why we're not going to fight them the usual way. He keyed a private channel to the ship's armory. Activate Firestorm. All warheads, all mines. Load the antimatter cores. The silence that followed spoke volumes. Even the crew knew Firestorm wasn't a tactic. It was a promise. The kind. That meant entire fleets didn't just lose. They vanished. The Virik commander's face appeared again on the Hala. His smile was smug. So this is humanity's famous courage? One ship against an armada? Ryland stared back. No, one. Ship with the power to burn your entire navy from the stars. The enemy laughed. You're bluffing. Ryland didn't answer. He simply gave a hand signal dot out in the void. The Aegis released a web of metallic spheres mines armed with antimatter charges. They drifted silently, invisible in the chaos of the battlefield. At the same time, the ship's missile bays launched. Dozens of warheads, their signatures hidden by decoy drones. The Virik fleet surged forward, eager to finish their prey. Fighters closed in, firing streams of plasma and high-velocity rounds. The Aegis weaved through the incoming fire, shields flaring under each hit. Shields at 62%, Yara called. Hold steady, Ryland said, calm as if he'd been here 100 times before. Then came the moment. The enemy's formation tightened, their ships pushing to encircle the Aegis. The mines were now right in their path. Detonate, Ryland ordered. The void erupted in blinding light. Dozens of antimatter charges went off at once, tearing through. Space with silent fury. Enemy fighters vanished in flashes of white, capital ships buckled as if crushed by invisible fists. On the Hala, the Virik commander's smug expression turned to pure shock. What have you done? Ryland's voice was low and deadly. You faked a human distress call. This is what happens. But as the light faded, Hale's console beeped a warning. Captain, 2 of the carriers survived, and they're powering something big. The tactical display showed massive energy spikes, too large for normal weapons. Yara's eyes widened. They're charging super heavy cannons. Enough to rip us in half. Ryland stood tall, gaze fixed on the display. Then it's time we stop playing defense. The counterstriketh bridge of the Aegis was silent, except for the hum of the engines and the beeping of targeting systems. Everyone's eyes were locked on the tactical display, where 2 massive red icons pulsed like warning hearts, the surviving enemy carriers. They'll fire in less than 3 minutes, Yara said, her voice tight. 1 hit from those cannons, and we're gone. Ryland didn't flinch. Then we don't give them the chance. He stepped forward. Helm bring us on a direct intercept course. All power to engines. Weapons, prep the spear. The crew's eyes widened. The spear wasn't just a weapon. It was the Aegis's experimental rail lance, a magnetic accelerator so powerful it could punch through a moon's crust. But it had a flaw. It needed a straight, unbroken line to the target, and firing it overloaded the ship's core for 30 seconds, leaving them wide open. Yara turned in her chair. Captain, if we miss, we won't, Ryland said flatly. Enemy wasn't idle. The 2 Virik carriers adjusted their formations, their fighter escorts regrouping to shield them. The glow of their super-heavy cannons grew brighter, their energy readings climbing into the red. The Aegis tore through the Ko. Wreckage field at full burn, shields sparking as debris slammed against the hull. Enemy fighters swarmed, firing from all sides. Hale's gunnery crews responded with brutal precision plasma turrets, vaporized anything that got too close, and missile pods spat death in all directions. Shields at 40%. Hale shouted. Keep going, Ryland ordered. We get 1 shot. Finally, the path was clear. The first carrier loomed ahead, a hulking shadow against the light of the nearby gas giant. Its massive cannon flared, seconds from firing. Charge the spear, Ryland commanded. The deck vibrated as energy built up along the ship's spine. Blue arcs of plasma danced over the rail lance's barrel, the hum rising to a deep, bone-shaking growl. "Target locked," Yara said. "Fire." The Aegis spat a single blinding bolt of kinetic fire. It tore across the void faster than sight, punching through the carrier's shields like they weren't there, ripping through its core and blasting out the other side in a spray of molten metal. The carrier didn't explode right away. It simply went dark, its weapons, lights, and engines snuffed out, drifting lifeless in space. But there was no time to celebrate. A second carrier's cannon was fully charged. Its barrels shifted, locking directly onto the Aegis. Yara's voice cracked. "They're about to fire." Ryland's eyes narrowed. "Then we take the shot before they do. Race against the beam." The first carrier's wreck still burned behind them, but no one on the Aegis was watching. All eyes were on the second Viric carrier. Its weapon core pulsed like a dying star, swelling brighter every second. "They're at 98% charge." Yara shouted, her voice sharp with fear. "We're too close to dodge," Halle said grimly. "If they fire, we won't let them," Ryland cut in, his tone like steel. "Helm, take us straight in." Weapons full power to the lance. "We're ending this now." The Aegis surged forward, tearing through the space between them. Enemy. Fighters scrambled to intercept, but Hale's turrets burned them from the void. Explosions flared like fireflies around the ship as debris spun away into the dark. The carrier's massive barrels shifted, locking on, 70% on the rail lance charge. Yara reported, 50 seconds until they fire," Halle warned. The crew could feel the tension in the air. The hum of the weapon grew deeper, vibrating through the metal under their boots. Warning klaxons blared as plasma scorch marks crawled across the Aegis's battered hull. Suddenly, a fighter broke through their defenses, diving straight for the bridge. Hale's voice cracked. "They're trying to kamikaze us." "Not today," Ryland growled. He slapped the manual fire control, sending a point-blank plasma blast from the ship's forward cannon. The fighter disintegrated, just meters from impact, pieces ricocheting off the shields. Rail lance at full charge. Yara shouted, Ryland's eyes locked on the tactical display. The carrier's cannon glowed white-hot, a line of death forming between them. "Fire!" He barked. The lance roared. A blinding streak of kinetic energy tore across the black, slamming into the carrier's front like a god's hammer. Armor plates shattered, internal explosions rippled through the ship, and its superweapons glow flickered, then imploded in a violent chain reaction. The carrier's hull split apart in slow motion, flames pouring into space before the whole thing burst in a silent, brilliant flash. The bridge was silent for a heartbeat. Then Yara exhaled shakily. "Target neutralized." Ryland's jaw tightened. "Not yet." Halle turned toward him. "Sir?" Ryland's eyes narrowed. "Whoever sent that fake SOS is still out there, and they'll know we're coming." The hunter becomes the hunted. The wreck of the second carrier still glowed faintly in the void. But the Aegis didn't slow. Raylan stood at the center of the bridge, his eyes locked on the star map. A single red blip pulsed far from the battle zone, drifting toward an asteroid cluster. It wasn't part of the Viric fleet. It was something else. "There," he said quietly. "That's our ghost." Yara frowned. "The source of the fake." "SOS?" Ryland nodded. "And the one who set this entire trap." The crew exchanged tense looks. It was one thing to fight warships head-on, but tracking a hidden enemy into an asteroid field was a different kind of danger. Halle adjusted the course. "Asteroids are unstable. One wrong move and we'll smash the hull to pieces." "Then don't make a wrong move," Ryland replied coldly. The Aegis slid into the shadow of the asteroid belt. Massive rocks drifted slowly, casting jagged shadows that hid entire ships. The crew cut external lights, moving like a predator through deep water. Static hissed on the comms. Then a voice, oily and mocking, crackled through the speakers. So, the humans survived. How inconvenient. Every muscle in Ryland's body tightened. Show yourself. The voice chuckled. You've already done enough damage. 2 of my fleet destroyed. Billions in resources lost. And for what? A lie. You lured us here, Ryland said, voice low. You thought we'd run. I knew you'd come, the voice said. I wanted to see if the stories were true, that humans can't resist a cry for help. Turns out the stories were wrong. You don't save people. You destroy them. The words hit like a slap. The crew stayed silent, waiting for Ryland's answer. He didn't raise his voice. You made one mistake. Oh? The voice teased. You're still talking to me, Ryland said. That means you're close enough to die. On the tactical screen, Yara's fingers flew over the console, triangulating the signal. Her eyes widened. Got them. Small stealth corvette, hiding in the asteroid's shadow, 20,000 kilometers ahead. Lock weapons, Ryland ordered. The enemy's voice came back, suddenly less confident. You wouldn't dare fire in an asteroid field. You'll kill yourselves. Ryland's jaw tightened. Watch me. The Aegis's rail lance swiveled, tracking the corvette's faint energy signature. Hale's hands gripped the controls, maneuvering carefully between spinning rocks. YAR whispered. Firing solution locked. Ryland didn't hesitate. Fire. A flash. The lance shot tore through the void, smashing into the corvette's flank. The explosion lit the asteroid field, shockwaves sending chunks of rock spinning away. When the light faded, nothing remained of the stealth ship, but molten fragments drifting into the dark. The bridge was quiet. Then Hala spoke softly. That's it. Whoever was behind the SOS, they're gone. Ryland stared at the debris. No, he said. That was only their hand. The mind is still out there, and it's watching. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. The hunt wasn't over. The message to the stars, the debris of the destroyed corvette, still drifted in the asteroid field when the Aegis emerged into open space again. The crew was silent, each of them knowing this fight had been more than a simple battle. It had been a test, and they had passed. Ryland stood before the comms console. Open the wideband channel, he ordered. Yara's fingers tapped quickly. Channel open. All major networks will receive this, including the Viric homeworld. Ryland stepped forward, his voice calm but cold. To every ship, every government, every species hearing this Earth answers only to itself. If you send us a call for help, we will come. If you send us a lie, we will still come. But when we find out you lied, you will not survive the day. His words carried across thousands of star systems. Somewhere, on countless worlds, alien leaders shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Hal smirked. That should keep them honest, for a while. Yara glanced up. And when it doesn't, Ryland looked out at the stars. Then they'll learn again. The Aegis turned toward the distant shimmer of Earth's home system. The engines flared, pushing the ship forward. In the quiet, Raylan thought of the voice that had taunted them in the asteroid field. Whoever was behind it. They weren't finished, and neither was he. Far away, in the cold black between galaxies, another signal began to transmit a soft, pulsing light that only a few could read. It was a warning. It was a challenge, and it was addressed to humanity.